If I were to start an agency in 2026, these are the two things I would focus on to start when I'm building my agency. My name's Gavin. I make these videos really to document my own journey, provide tips and tricks. I've made videos for years on this channel and somehow I still only have about 2,000 subscribers, whatever. Anyway, so right now, just to give you a bit of context, we're doing roughly between $80,000 to $90,000 a month in revenue with my email and SMS marketing agency. And I think back a lot of times about what I would do differently, or if I was starting again, how would I go about building my agency? And you know, I keep coming back to these two key things. Number one is YouTube, and number two is in-person networking. Now, the context of creating an agency in 2026 is that right now, so many people are trying to generate leads in a digital way, right? Cold email, LinkedIn DMs, Instagram DMs, Twitter, all sorts of stuff. And what ends up happening is these mediums get so saturated, and with the advent of AI getting introduced into the equation, so many people are conditioned, or rather inundated with messages around working with agencies through that basically medium, right? I can't tell you how many cold emails I receive every single day with people pitching me, and as a result, the efficacy of those mediums has gone down, right? If I get 10 cold emails, I'm probably not going to open any of them, as opposed to 3 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, when I was, getting one cold email. It was unique, it was different, but it's become saturated. And this ultimately speaks to an issue of A, trust, and B, real human to human connection. Which brings me to my two mediums that I'd really try and hammer if I was trying to grow my agency in 2026. It would be YouTube and it would be in-person networking. I'm gonna speak to YouTube first. The reason I would really recommend building a YouTube channel around the service that you offer, which is what I do. On this channel, I speak about my agency, but I have another email marketing channel where I teach people how to do email marketing. The reason I think YouTube works so effectively, and it does, we get a lot of business from it, is because it is a person speaking like this directly to the camera, which allows for the people who are watching the content to A, develop a relationship with the person, and B, build trust. The reality is, when you're trying to grow and sell things, anybody you sell to has to have a degree of trust there. And if you're able to get behind a camera and speak about what you know, you're able to build that trust and the parasocial relationship between the viewer and the, content creator, which in this case is me, so much more effectively than you would be able to rather, posting on LinkedIn or putting content out on Twitter. AI, and this is the reality of it, hasn't come yet for the video format of these videos. I'm a real person speaking, and therefore you are able to get a good feel for who I am. Really quickly, sorry to interrupt the video. I just wanted to tell you something really cool that we've started doing with Inbox. I've actually created a school community where I teach you anything and everything I know about email and SMS marketing, from really advanced campaign strategies to how to simply set up your Klaviyo account, all the way to building really, really cool automations for the back end of your e-commerce store. Whether you're a business owner trying to learn how to do email marketing, or an email marketer trying to learn how to become a better email marketer, there is a link in the description to this school community where I teach you everything I know. Check it out, it's worthwhile. Book a call to have a chat with me to see if you're a right fit for the community, and if you are, I'd love to get you in there. Anyway, sorry for interrupting your video, let's get back to it. As a business owner and how I operate. When I'm writing on, say, LinkedIn and Twitter, 90% of that content now is written by AI. And people know this, and therefore are less likely to develop that relationship and believe the person who is writing that content. I'm not saying it's not effective, but this is so much more effective at building that relationship, or doing what the written content is intending to do in the first place, right? Whenever we put content out there, we're trying to position ourselves as experts and build a relationship with the reader/viewer. But if the reader/viewer is aware that perhaps that content is written by AI, they're not as likely to engage with that content or trust the person behind it, as opposed to another method, which is a lot more human to human. This is significantly more human to human than you reading one of my newsletters. Now, I'm not saying you reading my newsletter isn't effective at really getting business, but this is a hell of a lot better at doing it than the other medium. So the first thing I would focus on is really understanding that key concept. People like to work with people, and the more you can create content that actually develops relationships with your readers and does so in a way that allows you to scale, the easier time you're going to have getting clients and closing deals. I produce videos on this because it allows people to develop that relationship and also essentially buy from me in a much more compelling and trust-based way than, say, me cold outreaching to people, right? The other reason I recommend YouTube is because it's incredibly easy to start. I'm recording this video on my camera. And yes, I have a microphone, but in reality, I could use my laptop microphone right now and the audio would be decent enough to still convey my expertise, right? If you can show that you are an actual person and you're able to speak about what you do, the ability to get in front of people and get people to trust you and therefore buy from you is going to be so much more compared to any other medium, right? And you don't need to be a good speaker, right? You can just demonstrate your systems and your processes. And a lot of you guys watching this are probably thinking, okay, well, I'm trying to grow my agency. I'm starting, I don't have many clients. What do I talk about? This is something I see all the time. You can talk about literally anything and anything when it comes anything and everything. Oh my God. It's, I got a Zin in my mouth right now and I'm in a different planet. But the reality is if you're able to create content, even if it's not like case study or things that you've actually done, you can create content around your method of thinking, right? Or your approach to client work as opposed to the actual client work that you've done. And all you're doing is trying to create, or rather deliver, a sense of who you are to your viewers. So YouTube is pretty much free to record, by the way. Like this video, yes, I pay my editor. Yes, I've got a microphone and I've got some lights here, but I could do all that without it and still get like 70% of where I need to be. And if you produce enough videos, which is free to do, it just takes time, you will find that you'll have like an organic compounding effect. If, for example, I produce 10 videos that get 10 views a week, each video, that's 100 views a week, right? Okay, so if I made 10 videos and I get 10 views a week from each of those videos, that's 10 views a week, or 100 views per week. And then I produce another 10 videos, and those get 10 views a week. All of a sudden, I'm getting 200 impressions, or rather views on my content every single week. And the more content I put out, and the more stuff I put out there, the more that compounding effect happens. This video that I'm recording will probably only get like 100 to 200, maybe if I'm lucky, 1,000 views. But the reality is, I'm producing 2 videos like this every single week. And I'm just pushing content out there constantly. And the compounding effect of that has resulted in a very consistent lead generation pipeline, okay? So if I was just starting, I'd really focus on YouTube. It's free, pretty much, to get out there. It's amazingly effective at actually, A, getting you in front of people who haven't seen you, but also when you get on sales calls and you tell people you have a YouTube channel, the effect that that has on your ability to close is better than anything else. I can show somebody a case study document. I can show them how many followers I have on LinkedIn. I can show them my newsletter. I can even show them, the back-end process that I have when it comes to delivering work. Nothing is as effective at closing deals as saying I have a YouTube channel. There's something behind being behind a camera, and the ability for that just action being behind the camera has to getting clients that nothing else beats it. The only thing that comes close, honestly, is in-person networking. So when you're first starting out, you want to be meeting as many people as you possibly can, shaking as many hands as you can, connecting with people in a way that even after you leave and you say goodbye to that person, you still have a way to keep in touch and communicate with them, okay? In-person networking has become so much more effective nowadays because people are starved for it. Everyone has gone down the direction of cold email, LinkedIn DMs, Twitter, even YouTube to a certain degree, honestly, that the human connection, as a result of everybody not focusing on it and going towards the digital, has led to the human connection element becoming even more important and the in-person networking aspect becoming even more important because everyone's focusing on these other digital methods that A, have become super saturated, and B, people have largely become numb to, that as a result, the in-person stuff has become way, way more effective. because A, no one's doing it, and B, because we're human beings and we value that connection. So what I would be doing, really, honestly, if I was just starting my agency in 2026, I'd be creating YouTube content, and then I'd be going to local business networking events. Go onto meetup.com, find conferences that are in your state, in your city, in your country, or even outside of your country, and then just going to those events and talking to people. Right? I know that's scary, by the way, it is scary. When I first started, I've been to so many conferences. When I first started, I felt like an imposter, because I was like, I'm not good enough, I shouldn't be here, but everyone's faking it. We're not really faking it, by the way, but everyone has that imposter syndrome. And then two, I also was like worried about, what if this doesn't become, what if there's no ROI here? The thing with the human in-person connection element is that the more people you meet, it has the same compounding effect that YouTube videos have. The more people you meet, the more your network grows, and you'll find that after 6, 8, 10, 12, even a year, 12 months, or even like a year to a year and a half, people who you've met from so long ago will reach back out to you when they're reminded of a need that they have in that moment. For example, I do email and SMS marketing, and I've gone to countless events, and I've met hundreds, if not thousands of people in this space, right? But in my first year, I met so many people, none of that turned into business, okay? But I'd met them and I'd connected with them on LinkedIn and I'd kept them aware of who I am, okay? I either put them on my newsletter, I had them in a tracker and I tracked them and I sent them a message every now and then. When the time came, right? When the time came for them to need what I sold, which is email marketing, they were aware of me. It might not have been in that exact moment when I met them, but 6 months later, 2 years later, I've had people come back to me after 3 years. I've been in the space now for coming on 4 to 5 years now. They come back, and that's when the deal actually happens. The more people you meet and the more time you spend meeting people, consistency is massive in this space, the more likely they are to come back into the future, and it compounds. I have a very consistent deal flow process now of people coming to me just from people I've met, right? In-person networking is so much more effective than any other digital marketing. It's just hard to scale. That's the reason a lot of people do it. But here's my thinking. If I were able to get one meeting with a person in person, as opposed to 10 digital Zoom meetings, I would take the in-person meeting, because that human-to-human connection is so much more, like that in-person element is so much more profound for us human beings that it's gonna result in a much higher ROI and likelihood of them becoming a viable candidate for working with you in the future than any other medium. So I know it's scary. Keep in mind, those two things I mentioned, YouTube and in-person networking, are pretty much free to do. Sure, for the in-person stuff, you might have to go pay for a ticket to get to an event or pay a membership fee, but it is so much more affordable than doing anything else, right? Like cold email, LinkedIn, DMing, Instagram DMing, all that sort of stuff. YouTube and in-person networking are pretty much free to do. Just emailing people and asking them to catch up over a coffee, you should pay for the coffee if you do that, by the way, is so much more effective than any other type of lead generation. So those are the two things, the core things I'd focus on. The third thing I'd also focus on is probably doing a bit of an Upwork strategy if you're just starting, you don't have any clients. I have a whole community link down below. You've probably already seen an ad that talks about this so far, but if not, there's a link down below to a Upwork school community where I teach people how to generate business from Upwork. Anyway, if you found this video useful, thank you. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel, 2 videos every single week, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.